Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. So I've been seeing clips of Jordan Peterson recently being on Joe Rogan's show, begging for Joe to censor his own guests, in particular those that state facts about Israel's extremism. Looks like the Israelis are getting desperate after the clown show that is Douglas Money appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience and made a complete fool of himself prior to Peterson doing the same thing. I'll link my video covering that in the description. Murray humiliated himself so badly with the same old tired Zio propaganda that even Joe Rogan went viral making fun of him in a follow-up show.
Have you been there? You haven't been? You should at least
Can you just
have the
go to one?
courtesy of going there.
Can I just...
So the Zionist Hasbara pushers desperately shuffled in teary-eyed shell JP to do some damage control, only for him to fail miserably also. Let's take a look.
I've been tracking psychopathic behavior on the right for probably 4 years, something like that, especially on the anti-Semitic side, because that's really where it reared its head first. And
Why is that?
there's nothing more annoying than a successful minority. Right.
When it comes to anti-Semitism, it's one of those things where you can't separate. It's a religion, and it's also a race, and it's also a government.
Mm-hmm.
That's where things get weird.
Right.
And then there's also the concept of intelligence agencies and compromise that also gets attached to it, the manipulation of world markets and money, and there's a lot to unpack. And then there's regular Jewish people have nothing to do with that.
Well, the Jews, too, they're very successful.
Yeah.
And so what you would expect from a purely statistical point of view is you'd expect them to be overrepresented at the extremes.
They're also a walled garden, right?
Meaning?
Meaning it's very difficult to join. They don't proselytize. They don't try to get you to join. And they're all very tightly knit.
I watched your whole conversation with Douglas. I thought there's a really unbelievably tricky problem here. How do you identify the psychopathic pretenders and then make a barrier? Because I've been watching these they're not right-wing, these psychopathic types manipulate the edge of the conservative movement for their own gain.
Right.
And a lot of that's cloaked in anti-Semitic guise. There's plenty of anti-Semitism on the left too, by the way. You know, you've let your curiosity guide you. Given your radical increase in stature over the last 10 years, how do you know when your curiosity and even your skepticism about the fact that things aren't the way that people say they are, because that's certainly been demonstrated in the last 10 years, how should anyone decide what guardrails to put up? Like, what do you look for? Do you have a conceptual system worked out for that? Like, because,
what do you mean? In what way?
Well,
how do I look for in terms of people to talk to?
Yeah, because you have this insanely immense platform and you're inviting people onto it. And, you know, you said to Douglas, and I know this to be true, that you're not really thinking about the outcome exactly. You're thinking about, this is an interesting person to talk to, and I'd like to go on that quest. But then you have the additional conundrum. We're trying to work this out in the Daily Wire side of things too. Not to say that that's exactly the same situation. It's like, once you gain in reach and authority, then how do you take great care that the people you're talking to aren't, what would you say, eliciting or feeding a subculture, yeah, that's right, that hasn't got the proper aims?
The additional aim of sending Peterson on Joe Rogan's show, on top of him doing a clean-up job for Douglas Money, was for Jordan to gaslight Joe into gatekeeping what JP called psychopaths who dare to criticise Israel from being on Joe's show. What's crazy is Peterson labels people who want to stop a genocide as psychopaths, yet covers for the actual psychopaths cheering it on while it happens, and even worse, actively participating in it. Peterson claimed that pro-Palestine commentators who expose the reality of Israel's barbaric actions are doing so for their own gain, when in reality they get debanked, demonetized and endlessly defamed for simply speaking the truth. Again, JP has been sent on a spin control mission due to people no longer buying the sloppy Zionist propaganda peddled by the likes of him and Douglas Money and others. And like an absolute hypocrite, Jordan Peterson resorted to calling for anyone telling the truth about the monstrosities that Israel is committing in Palestine to be censored. This is a man who used to speak up against cancel culture before he sold his soul to Zio media machine, the Daily Wire, which he openly admits to.
I recently joined forces with the Daily Wire. I like the unabashedly shameless capitalist ethos of the Daily Wire crew. They made me a great deal financially. I've always deemed myself an evil capitalist.
People are not annoyed at Jewish people in general for being successful, as Jordan Peterson puts it. They're disgusted at the fact that babies, children and civilians are being killed, and at those involved in covering this up. That's not anti-Semitism. That's called having a conscience and having a duty of care towards our fellow human beings. So what does Jordan make of the Jewish alternative media personalities that are critical of Israel, like Dave Smith or Norman Finkelstein or Noam Chomsky, etc.? Are they also anti-Semitic despite being Jewish themselves? And despite the false Israeli narrative, everyone now knows that this did not start on October 7th. Israel has been oppressing the Palestinians for over 70 years now, and they thought that this time around, with a social media campaign funded to the tune of millions of American dollars, they would once again literally get away with anything, like they always have done. But they did not account for massive platforms like Joe Rogan and Candace Owens and Theo Vaughn and even Piers Morgan, along with millions of regular people around the world exposing the reality of Israel's extremism. The Zios are clearly losing the PR war and are desperately clutching at straws to save face while they wipe out men, women and children. And sending a blubbering mess like Jordan Peterson to beg for censorship is a terrible chess move. Let's not let up on the pressure, guys, as these Zios are clearly in panic mode right now. And I have nothing but respect for anyone who is using their voice and their platform to expose these demons for who they are and to speak up for the good of humanity. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description. And remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.